Hi everyone, it's Tony Campana with Tony Marie's Creations, and I'm coming to you today to show you a card that was created in my June card classes, and our theme that month was fun folds. And as I was doing the tutorials, I was finding that it was a little bit hard to try to describe how to do certain folds just by doing the text and typing them out. So I thought I would do videos for these cards. And the second card that we made in my class was using the Wild Bunch, which was the product of the month for June. Unfortunately, this product actually sold out before the end of the month. And that's just a note I want to make, that each month we introduce a new product of the month. And those items are only available while supplies last. This set was wildly popular, as you can see why. These little characters are just so cute. But they did sell out before the month ended. Our new product of the month, and I don't have it with me to show it to you, but it usually goes live the the first Tuesday of the month, which would have been next week, but they actually released it today. So you can see that on my website, TonyMariesCreations.stampinup.net. So this was the card, or the set that we used, and the card is actually an inspiration. I got the fold from Heidi Collin, and she called this a window trifold card. So you stand it up, you can see there's a little box here, and it does fold flat, but you can also open it this way, and this flips up, and that is the card. So I wanted to show, this is really a pretty easy card to put together. There's just a couple little tips I wanted to show in the creation to make it hopefully a little bit easier. So I'm going to put this out to the side, and my papers are going to be a little bit different from what this is actually showing. So I just want to point that out. The first thing that's important is the way that you actually do this card and make your score lines. So this is a 8.5 by 5.5 inch piece of cardstock, and then it's scored at 4 1/4. Actually, it's scored, I'm going to go this way across the card. So the first score is 1/2 inch, then 1 3/4, 3 inches, and then there's your 4 1/4, which is the normal halfway point when you're scoring. And what I wanted to show you, or what I felt was an easier way of handling how we make the boxes, we wait till the end of the card to actually get this piece going, okay? That way you can continue, you can go ahead and finish everything else without this part being in the way. So we start off with a few strips of designer series paper. And because I was doing a large quantity of the paper, I didn't have quite enough of the pattern I wanted to use. So I decided to just do 2 pieces of the DSP, and then I was going to break it up with 1 piece of crisp cantaloupe. And I stamped one of the images from the stamp set, which is these little cross hatches here. I stamped that with crisp cantaloupe ink. Crisp cantaloupe is a returning color. We had it many years ago, and it is now back as one of our 2026-2028 in colors. So the first thing for assembling this card is I'm going to go ahead and put my DSP panels on here first. And you can use double-sided tape, or you can use, I'm going to open this up to make this a little bit easier, or you can use liquid glue, whatever your preference is. There are some parts of this card where I'm going to tell you that it's strongly recommended to use liquid glue or tear tape, because anytime you're working with a fun fold, so the card's going to be handled quite a bit, you want to make sure that your adhesive is a very strong adhesive. Double-sided tape, while initially will work, there's just the fear that, opening and closing or handling the card a lot may make that tape a little less sticky. So I prefer to use, if I'm just doing paper to paper, then double-sided tape is fine. But if I'm going to do a card that's got any kind of movement, or I'm making a structure or like a 3D effect, I like to use the liquid glue. So I'm going to go ahead and do this part first. Just for me visually, this is a little bit easier to line up these strips than if I were doing it this way. So again, just a little tip for something that works a little bit better for me. So then my front is done as far as that's concerned. Now I'm going to come in, I'm going to move this out of the way a little bit, and the second part of the card is this part, this fold here. And I went ahead and I stamped, oh, let me tell you the sizes. So this is going to be 10 and a half inches long by 2 3/4 inches wide, and then you're scoring that in half at 5 1/4. I went ahead and stamped my sentiment. I used this image again, and I put a couple little hearts in, and for the hearts, I colored them in with our new shimmer brushes. This is a new product for us for this current catalog, and they're only available right now in the 2026 to 2028 in colors. And they're very similar to Wink of Stella, but they're colored to match our new in color. So I always recommend that you shake them up a little bit before you use them. Okay, so I've got my inside done, and now I'm going to come along and put in my designer series paper for the front. And again, this portion, it's fine to just use the double-sided tape on. And again, all the details of the products I'm using and the sizes are going to be available in the tutorial that goes along with this video. So I'm going to center that. And then I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to attach this now. This is going to go on the inside, and you're going to leave a little bit of a margin around it. Okay. Again, you can use the liquid glue on this if you'd like. It gives you a little bit of what we call wiggle room time, so that when you are laying it on your cardstock, you can slide it a little bit before it actually grabs hold. I feel comfortable with using the double-sided adhesive on this. Okay, so I'm going to press that in place, okay? All right, so next we're going to create or stamp our little character. And let me find my stamp. I decided I'm going to replicate this little koala. He is just adorable. And I am using a product that Stampin' Up! Doesn't carry anymore, the Memento black ink. We have a new product that is, I have not quite mastered it. It is supposed to be able to be used with blends as well as watercoloring, and it's a crossover type of a product. I've just not got it to work very well for me, and I'm always very hesitant to recommend products if I've not got them to work well for me. So I'm still working on that, and I'm going to just move that little guy out of the way first, because I want to make sure I've got room to stamp my sentiment. So I'm gonna do that a little bit off to the side. So I'll do my hi friend, and remember we had happy birthday in the center in that this piece here. And I'm going to come back and just stamp my little koala. And not looking like I'm getting, I might need to re-ink my I'm going to angle him here just a little bit. Okay, and the fun part is the coloring next. I'm using our blends. I'm going to put the lid on this and get it out of the way so I don't put it in my hand in it. And I'm using the light basic black, and I'm going to come in and color his nose. These little characters are really quick to color as well. You don't have to spend a whole lot of time on that part of the card. And for his body, I am using gray granite. And what I did was I went in first and colored him. Actually, I'm going to use the blush, Barely Blush. The light and dark Barely Blush for the insides of his ears. So just come in and color those. I'm coloring them in with the light, and then I'm going to go back and just touch up a little bit. And this is a very subtle color, so you're not probably going to see a whole lot of difference in there, and that's fine. But then to color his body, I'm going to start with the light gray granite. And I'm just going to pretty much color him all in. And I find if you're doing a large area, the brush part of the blends is probably recommended. You can do the bullet point, but it's going to probably take you a little bit longer. I can just go in some broad strokes with the brush. Okay, so I've got the light, and then I'm going to come back with the dark, and I'm just going to add a little bit of shadowing to him. Put a little bit up here on his hair, a little piece down here. Okay. I am not great at doing highlighting and things like that, so my apologies. And the other thing I wanted to introduce too is we have new white gel pens, and so far I have been very, very happy with them. I'm just going to come in and put a little bit of some extra highlights here with the white. And not a lot. You don't need, you're just trying to draw a little focal attention to your guys. And if you put the tiniest dot on his eyes, it kind of makes them pop a little bit, which I think is fun. It's a fun little feature as well. And I'm going to come back in here and I'm going to do a couple of hearts. Do one up here. And I'm going to come back in with my glimmer. You could also do these in the pink. I'm just using the crisp cantaloupe to kind of pull that color scheme all together. Okay. And now we have a little bit larger piece of the crisp cantaloupe for layering purposes. Okay, so I'm going to set that aside because now we're all ready to assemble the rest of the card. So I'm going to grab my bone folder, if I can get it down the holder. Oh gosh, got too many things stuffed in there. And I have to apologize, my bone folders are in desperate need of being cleaned up. They are really horrendous, but it'll still work. So I'm going to go back and I'm just going to burnish these score lines very well. Okay, And now this is the part where we're going to make the box. Now a lot of people I know we're going to put glue here, and I know some people would, you know, try to work with this and try to figure out exactly where this piece goes here. I'm going to show you a quick and easy way of not having to fuss or fret over it. So let me get my liquid glue. And I'm going to put just a little bit. Again, I've said in the various videos that I do like working with liquid glue, but it took me a while to realize that a little goes a long way, and that's probably a lot. Probably didn't need quite that much, but what I'm going to do is, instead of trying to pick this up and figure out where it goes, is go on this second score line, fold it over, and just let that lay flat. That way it's going exactly where it needs to go. You don't have to fuss around with it and possibly get glue everywhere, which would be the case with me. So I'm going to let that. And the nice thing is the liquid glue, while it might take a tad longer than our double-sided adhesive, it's not that much longer. It really does set up pretty quickly. So now that's created my box, okay? And we're all ready to put this little guy here. And you can do this one of two ways. You can either apply some adhesive here down the center and go ahead and put that, or you can flatten this out, do the same thing. If you'd rather work with your project being flat, you can do that. You can do this focal piece a little bit higher. You can go to the center. You can go down here at the bottom. It's wherever you would like it to go. So I am going to, and I'm going to go with the double-sided tape on this. I don't think it really requires the liquid glue for as much as this is going to move. So I'm going to go with this at the center. Actually, yeah, I kind of laid it down, and now I don't want to smear my adhesive. Okay, so now that opens up like that. That opens up like that. And the last thing that we have to put on is my embellishments. Let me grab those. And these are the 2026-2028 in color dots. So I already know that they're going to coordinate very well with I had my Picket tool here, and somehow that's walked off my desk, which was not surprised. So I'm just going to go ahead and use my scissors. And we know we have the rule of 3. If I can get this off. When you put your embellishments on, and it looks like, of course, this did not pick up the adhesive. So now that it's on my finger now, let me peel that off. You know, these things tend to happen. So anyway, back to the rule of 3. You always want to have an odd number of embellishments on your project, because your eye is drawn more to the odd number than if you put an even number. So I'm going to put 3 little embellishments there, and then that's going to be it for our card. I went ahead and pre-stamped my envelope with this coordinating image, and that is the window trifold card. And again, the inspiration came from Heidi Collin, a very talented demonstrator. Oh, there's my Picket tool. And I hope you enjoyed this and a couple of the tips that I provided with how to make this card to come together pretty easily. Thanks for following along, and enjoy the rest of your day.